Have you ever created a graphic in Canva and thought, this is almost okay, but something is not quite right and I can't put my finger on it? Or have you wanted to create an Instagram pinned post where there's 3 posts at the top of your Instagram, kind of like this, that looks really cute and amazing, but you just don't know how to make it all work together? Well, this tutorial is going to be a hybrid mix of all of the above, because I'm going to take one of my students' designs. I have a program called DIY Design My Biz. It's for everyday business owners doing their own graphics. And I have students inside there, and often we're giving feedback and helping them create incredible designs after they've kind of gone through our course. And on a recent call that I had, I was helping a client with a pinned post, and I asked her if she'd be willing for me to share that with you on YouTube so that you can learn. Because what I find is that I can teach you all this fun strategy about design and branding and all of Canva, but until you actually see it in practice and see a real design that wasn't working and now it really is, then it's all going to start to click for you. And you'll be able to see how you can use these principles to apply it to your graphics, because graphic design isn't just about looking pretty. It's really about making sure that your designs are making you sales. Because if your designs aren't looking professional, or they aren't communicating clearly, or they aren't building up your brand, then you're less likely to make sales, which is why I'm so glad you're here. You are investing your time into learning how to use Canva and design well, and it's going to pay you back dividends so much in your business. So let's dive on in. This is a pinned post one of my students, Joanna, made. She did a really, really great job. She has gone through the course and she's learned about design principles. She's learned about her brand. She built her whole brand in the course. She built her whole logo in the course. I was so proud of her, because on this call was the first time I'd met her, and she had just gone through, I think she only joined the course about 2 weeks before the call, maybe 3 weeks. And she'd gone through the whole program, built out her whole brand. She actually rebranded from a graphic that she made earlier. I'm going to share a bit of her story with you at the end of the episode. But she pretty much made her whole brand, did an incredible job as making all these graphics and templates, and she'd worked on this pinned post. So if you don't know what a pinned post is, pretty much on Instagram, you can do what's called pinning a post, where it pretty much stays at the top of your grid all the time, and you can pin it to be there. And so a great practice is actually creating 3 posts that look like they're kind of intertwined together, and pinning all 3 of them so it looks like this kind of little banner at the top of your Instagram. And so Joanna had made this using one of my tutorials and did an incredible job. The content in here, the branding in here is all on point, but I could see a few little things I thought would be useful to tweak. And the changes I made blew her mind, and also blew the minds of the students watching. And I thought, let's show you guys as well how you can take a pretty good design and make it incredible just through doing a few little tweaks using some really strategic design principles. So you are going to absolutely love this. So we're going to go from this design here and transform it into this design. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do that today. So there are 2 ways to do a pinned post on Instagram. One is a full tutorial that I've already recorded for you, and I'll link it right here. This is my preferred method because it means that you can really see what each individual post looks like. Or there's the version I'm going to show you today, which has it in one long post that we're then going to split up. And so I've opened up the design here for us today. So this is Joanna's post. She did this all by herself using the things that she learned from me. And you can see this design has so much good stuff going for it. Joanna's brand, this is the brand that she made, North of No East. It's a virtual assistant for travel brands. And so she wanted to have a real travel kind of feel, and also something that would connect with her audience. And so she's done a really great job. I had no notes for her logo. She did that all by herself, and I was so proud. But there's a few things I would like to change about the pinned post itself. So I'm going to duplicate this post. I always duplicate my students' posts when I am going to design for them, because I don't want to, if there's something that I change that they don't want me to change, then I want to make sure they can have the capacity to go back and change that, or to leave it as it was. But what I want to do here is work in for more of her branding. So for her brand fonts, she's got this one here, this About font, which is bricolage. And she's added in this font here, which is for me, which is apricots. I'm going to actually suggest to her that we ditch this font because she's already got a really beautiful handwritten style font in her logo. And when we have the same fonts in our logo as we do in our overall brand, it means that those two are going to go interchangeably together really cleanly. You don't have to, like some professional designers will give you a whole different font suite than you have used in your logo. But when we're DIYing our brand, a surefire way to make sure our brand feels the same, is really consistent, and is communicating the same message everywhere, is to use similar fonts in our logo as we do in our brand. And I think this is a really great option for her. So I'm going to use this font Amatic in her overall brand fonts as well as in her logo. So I'm going to delete the me here. So it feels a little bit more consistent and cohesive. But I actually don't know that it's needed here. I'm going to put About Me. Because me is such a small word, I feel like it actually works better to be in the same kind of font. So I'm going to bring that up here and put About Me in the same line. Now, can you see when I put 2 lines here, this is like, there's a huge amount of space in this font between these two lines. That's far too much. If your font ever does that, make less space. So I'm going to click on this text box and go to advanced settings and make my line spacing a lot tighter. That's just going to mean that this feels like it's one cohesive thought rather than two separate thought lines. I'm going to maybe make this left aligned, and we'll see what we do with this later. Let's make it a little bit smaller. I do like this hierarchy. I think having this text really large helps it be really clear at a grid level. Like you can picture if someone's viewing this on an Instagram grid, it's going to be more this size. So it's good to have things really clear in some large pieces of text to make that more visible. So let's bring this across. I might even put this over one line. Make this a little bit smaller. We might play with some colors soon because she has some incredible colors. Pretty much her brand colors are the colors you see in this logo. So I'm going to go with using a lot of these in today's video. And you can see we've got a lot of kind of plain colors going on here. A small highlight here with the end, but not enough. So I want to bring in some more of that fun and playfulness into the brand because that's what her brand is meant to feel like. You can also see if I was to zoom out here, there's a lot of boxes. It's box, 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 box. And it's probably a little bit too boxy. So I want to see if we can find some different solutions. So boxes are a great solution to making text visible when it might not otherwise be visible. So if I click on this box and remove it, this needed a box because it's just not visible. This text is too busy on the background. So I'm going to leave that box there. Another reason boxes are great is because it creates different sections. So our eyes see this, and then it sees this, and then it sees this. It creates different visual sections for us. But I don't think we need it here. So I'm going to actually remove this box. And the reason she's added it in here is because of all these darn boats. Obviously, this has got too much busyness happening. We can't see this text. But I've got a fun solution I'm going to use today, which is using Canva's AI features. So I'm going to click on this background image. She's actually got a box here in the background. I'm actually going to delete that because if you click on an image and click on the transparency, you can actually fade the image into the background without having to put a separate box on top, which means there's one less thing to accidentally click, which just means our design can be a bit less busy and a bit easier to work with. So I'm going to make that and just fade the image into the background. I can then change the color of the background. Like I could make it pink, or I could make it yellow, I could make it white, but I'm going to stick with that dark color she faded it into, because when we fade an image into a darker background, it makes the image feel more rich. Whereas if we fade it into like a white, it makes the image feel more washed out. So I'm going to make it feel a bit richer and darker like so. Now I'm going to click on this image and press edit. I'm going to toggle over in our Magic Studio across to Magic Eraser. Now this is a pro feature. If you don't have Canva Pro, can't do this. So once this opens up, I'm going to paint over the areas I want to remove. So I'm going to change my brush size to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm literally just going to click and drag and paint over where I want to remove. So I don't want these boats. They are too much of a focal point for what I'm wanting to do here, but I do like this image being in the background, so I don't want to get rid of it. Click and drag again and get rid of these boats too. Beautiful. And then I can press erase, and then Canva AI is going to load. It's going to look at what's in the background, what's in the foreground, and what's around in the image and think, all right, this is what should be there instead. And it's pretty much removed it almost flawlessly. If it's not quite perfect yet, like say, for example, I want to remove this big splodge here, I can do the process again. Just paint here, maybe paint there, a little bit here, and press erase again. And it's going to do the same thing and hopefully fix up those bits that it missed a little bit last time. All right, that's looking fabulous. I'm going to press cross to get out of that area. And now I can see this text a lot better, which is really, really exciting. Now, another thing I find people do and make mistakes of regularly is making themselves too small. I think it's really great to have yourself on your branding, especially if you have a personal brand. So I am all for Joanna's picture being here, but I honestly think she's a little bit too small. Now, I said before that I teach two methods of doing the pinned post. The reason I teach the other method is because it makes it easier to see each post as an individual post. Because if I'm just going to add in a box here. I'm going to drag it to be the size of the rest of these posts. I'm going to click on the color and make it the same color as the background. Now, because this post is still going to be viewed by itself. When you have a pinned post, it's not just always a banner. It will be viewed by itself. So it is important that that post still looks good as an individual post. So I'm just putting this box here so I can picture what this post looks like by itself, and then I'll remove that and look at it again soon. But let's make this text. I feel like we've got three floating sections: about me, I'm Joanna, and the picture. So I'm going to first make the picture of Joanna a lot bigger. So it's even maybe anchored to the bottom of the page. So it feels a bit more like it's not just floating there as much. And so it makes it a little bit bigger. I may change this a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. I'm also wanting to add in some color. Her brand is quite fun and playful, and I feel like lots of this white text isn't doing it for me. So I'm going to make this text into one of her bright pink colors. Maybe drag that over here. And then I've got the Hi, I'm Joanna. Maybe we can make this into maybe a light orange of her branding colors. And bringing in, again, we've got this font down here to play with, so I feel like we could bring that in. So let's click on the font and change it to being our a Matic font. Let's remove this dash. I feel like that's not needed. It's kind of making it feel a bit busy. And if I put Joanna on a second line here, tighten this up with our line spacing, and then make this larger, it's starting to feel a little bit more friendly, and it's got some more hierarchy. We've got about me being the strongest point of hierarchy. Hierarchy is this idea that the viewer's eye is going to bring to walk through the design, whereas if we don't have any large text versus small text, there's not really any key focal point for our audience to look at. I'm just aligning all of this to the left just so I can have a nice strong clean line along here. You can see if I drag a ruler out that we've got this nice line down here of all of our text left aligned. It just means that it feels more compact and more clean. Make this a little smaller. Might make this a slightly darker orange. All right, that's starting to come together. I haven't added in brand elements yet. That will be coming, but I think this is looking nice. Maybe even changing the border of this color to being a lighter shade just to kind of bring in some brightness to the design. I feel like either could have worked. All right, I'm going to move my box away for a moment. Just bring it down here so I can access it later. And now we've got our middle section. So you can see here, if I was actually to bring my box back, I knew I'd need it again. If I bring this box back and I put it on top of our design and we just view this one design as a one design, you can actually see it's quite off balance. We've got all of our text is to the right-hand side, and she's done that because of the photo and how she placed that in. But I want to make sure that especially our center aligned text here is actually center aligned to the image itself. So I'm going to bring this across and make sure I see that big pink line. So you see that pink line pop up down the center of my design? That's telling me this is 100% centered, and I think that would be ideal. So I'll leave that there. I play with this box, or I might even see, do I need this box for the heading? Is there a way that I can make this stand out without it having to be on a box, just so that it feels a bit less boxy again? So I'm going to ungroup this area so I can play with this a little bit. Now, this isn't in her cool brand font. She has such a cool font that we've used for About Me. I'm going to bring that across to here as well. So let's go for the bricolage. And then let's align this up even more. So I'm going to click on this line of text here, put my cursor in the middle, click on our advanced settings for line spacing and bring this up so it's a bit closer. You can see it's bringing up professionals, but it's still not overlapping on virtual assistants. That's because the virtual assistants text is smaller. So to actually work around this, I'm going to click on my mouse on the top line. And then that's only going to change the line spacing for that area. And can you see virtual assistants for travel brands and professionals? The travel brands is like the travel brands and is lined up to the edges of virtual assistants for, which is really great. I think she's done that on purpose. But now that I've changed the font, the professionals is no longer doing that. So I'm going to click my mouse on the font there. And can you see here, I'm trying to make professionals larger, but it's actually also making travel brands bigger too, which is defeating the purpose. So I'm actually going to make this smaller again, bring it back to what it was. And if I want to change one line of text size individually, I can actually press return on my keyboard. So return. And now instead of this just being on the next line automatically because the text box didn't fit it, it's actually an intentional second line of text, which now means I can change the size of it independently, which means you don't have to make it a whole new text box. You can just change it. So that's now sorted. You need to make sure that's maybe a little bit larger and make sure it's back in that center now that I've played with things. So wait for that big, strong center line to pop up, that pink solid line. Where are you? There you go. See that big pink line popping up there? Let go. Now this is almost visible. It's a little bit not as visible as I'd like. I'm going to click on this text box and go to Effects. And I'm going to hit this Lift button. Lift just adds a really subtle shadow. So I'm going to bring the intensity of that all the way up. And now this is standing out just a little bit more than it was. And I think that's actually plenty. If I zoom out here, I can still read that text just fine. So now I've got this down the bottom here. So supporting boutique travel brands with, this is kind of acting as a heading, but right now it's the same kind of size as this. So how can I differentiate it just a little bit? Not so it's in line with this kind of text, because that's not, this is meant to be a section of readability and this is meant to be a section of things that I read. So let's try making this one, maybe one of our accent font like I teach in my program. I'll make that a bit bolder. Make that a bit larger. And that's now feeling a little bit more playful, but still quite interesting. So I could leave it like this and just put this text in a box like so. Or if I want to, I could put this over maybe 3 boxes. I could potentially bring this text box up, so this rectangle up. And I could put 3 lines. So I could put this, and then this, And then this, to duplicate those really easily, I'm actually just holding down Shift and Option or Alt if you're on PC on my computer, and it's duplicating them. Or you can just press this. If you click on an object, you can press this duplicate icon and it will duplicate it for you. Do this a little bit smaller so my voice fits onto my text box there. Make the line spacing just a smidgen larger so it fits into my boxes a bit better. All right, that's coming together nicely. Pop those and select those and bring them to being behind the box so it feels like it's kind of coming out of her photo. And I might just add a shadow onto here like I did with the text above to bring it out a little bit. And you can see now, if I just delete this box for a moment, this is feeling a lot less boxy, a lot more inviting to read. If I wanted to, I could even make this more interesting. I could make this like a different kind of color. Maybe I could try the pink. That's a lot, but it could be quite fun. And maybe I could go through the blue, maybe the orange. I could do all three colors. Like that's definitely an option. If you wanted a more playful look, if you wanted a more stripped back look, you could bring like a little bit of both. Maybe I could do this color and kind of have them alternating. I think either is totally okay. All right, that's coming together. I still need to add in brand elements. I'm going to do that next. But now I'm going to work on our last slide and just double checking how this is feeling. So this isn't too bad. She was experimenting with these elements, but I'm going to veto that because it doesn't feel as on brand, because her brand is so strong in terms of her logo style. So I think we should really push into that for her branding style. So I'm going to go to this phone and remove it. And this box is feeling a little bit floaty. If this is totally okay, it could be fine. Or let's kind of anchor it to something is another way of doing things. So I could anchor it, like even if I just made it a little bit larger and made it like kind of centered on the page, that's one way to kind of feel a bit more anchored. Or I could even bring it off the top of the page so it feels connected at the top there. It's kind of acting like a little drop down from the top, but then making sure it's totally centered. That's really, really important. So I'm going to press position and center, and that's going to center those two objects I have selected together. And if I drag this around, I just need to make sure it's centered. This is, again, because I've got this whole big design that I'm actually working with, it's not going to tell me that big, strong pink center line like it did on this one, which is another reason why I like breaking it up into 3 parts instead of designing it like this. But we're going to work with this because it was already started. I'm also going to remove the box from behind north of no east because this isn't the focal point. Like on Instagram, someone's not going to be able to click on this link. It's not like the most important piece of information here because it's just really hard to do anything with it when you're inside Instagram. So I don't need this to be as strong as the focal point as attention grabbing because it's really just additional information. I'm going to add a shadow to that, but I want this to be something that people really see. So let's make this into her really cool bricolage font. Maybe bring this line spacing together a little bit more. Maybe we'll try left aligning it. And I could even add in a dot or something, like a full stop, make it pink, just to add a little bit of visual interest. Like just something that's a little bit fun, but not too much fun. Just enough that we're still feeling professional, but it's not just boring, you know? Oh, that's coming together nicely. Okay, I feel like we've arranged this well. Now we're going to do some refining. So as I mentioned, I really think this icon that she's kind of made, I think it would be really great to use similar icons as brand elements. So I'm going to go across, I've saved some brand elements on this page for us to reference. So I'm going to grab this one here, copy it and bring it over here. Oops. I'm going to grab this element here, copy it and bring it over back to our page and paste it. And maybe bring this into our design. So where can I pop this? Elements are really great to add visual interest, add a bit more recognizability to the brand, and create more of a vibe. So as soon as I add this in, the brand looks totally different. Not totally different, but it feels, there's more of a vibe there. It's very hard to explain. I'm going to bring that, maybe sit it over here. Maybe make this a little bit smaller so I can bring that in more. Maybe there. Maybe make this one of her brand colors because right now it's more of just a random green rather than hers. And I could do it, see if I did a pink, it would probably become quite a strong focal point, and that's totally okay, could definitely work. Or if I do it more of a backgroundy kind of color, but still one of her brand colors, it feels a little bit more subdued. I'm not sure which one I prefer, to be honest. I could do the same color as the text as well as another option. Or something really bright. I think I'll let Joanna choose her preference there. I think either of them is actually quite fine. Bring that down. I'm going to bring that down a little bit more. Beautiful. Okay, let's add some more brand elements in. Let's try this one here. Go back to my design, paste that in. I feel like I could do with some more branding on this page. So I could maybe pop something at the top here or in the corner. Or we've got a nice little space over here, which I wouldn't normally say you needed to fill in, but I feel like this brand could work that way. What if I use this as a little bit of just a visual funky thing popping from the edge here? And then maybe make it the same color as our text. You know what? I'm actually feeling this bright color that I've used over here, or that she already used over here. I might change Joanna to that too, so it feels like there's two of the same thing happening. Sometimes we've got a lot of different brand colors. We do too many different colors in one design, whereas if we do just one or two colors in each design, it feels really fun and playful, but not too busy. So I think that's kind of working really, really nicely. Now, do I want to add in any more? I totally could, or I could just leave it as so. Let's grab this one and have a bit of a play for a second. Yeah, make this nice and large. I could almost have this as a bit of a background element. So I'm going to grab that and position it. So click on layers here, or I could click on arrange and press send to back. And that's now going to go behind everything. I'm going to change this to being maybe a color that's going to be, obviously this is way too busy. This is really starting to fight. Our background is busy enough that I don't need something to be that busy. So what if I make this like one of her dark colors? This would be nice if it wasn't the same color as this background here. This is kind of okay because it's kind of mimicking the colors that are over here. So what if I then fade that into the background just a little bit? You know what? I veto my decision. I think that's too busy. I don't hate it. Do I hate it? You can see that I'm twisting my head like this. This kind of just helps me look at it in a different way. Sometimes I zoom out. Sometimes I zoom back in. Sometimes I put my hand over the screen to kind of like cover different parts of the graphic. So these both actually look okay individually, but I think maybe altogether it might be too much. What if I flip it? Click on it, flip horizontal, make the busy part of it being on this side of the graphic and the more chill part of it being on this side that's already quite busy. I don't hate that. If I wanted to, I could make this area less busy. I could even make all of these the same color. Maybe that would make it work a bit more. Or even similar colors. All right, this is coming together. I'm really happy with this now. There just seems like there's a little bit too much space here. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit so it's a little closer to my text there. But I think this is coming together well. You notice our text is quite large here. This is size 30. This is size 40. I wouldn't go, like you can go a lot smaller. You can go down to at least size 20, but don't be making posts that are really small and got really small text. It's just too difficult to read on a phone. All right, can we see this? I'm going to compare the original to this one here. So it's a little more interesting and on brand, and a little bit less boxy. But again, this was still a really lovely design. We've just made some small tweaks to make it even more dynamic. I want to actually test this being in the dark color, just in case. Then I faded it in. Actually, I think I prefer that. I'm going to fade this a little bit more. Let's go there. Okay. Beautiful. And so I've just realized, as I was about to share with you the dimensions here, that Joanna's actually done not the most ideal dimensions for this as of Instagram at present. So I'm going to resize this design for her and make some small tweaks to make this work. But in essence, what's going to happen here is when she tries to save this as a pinned post, what's going to happen is this part here. So the idea of a pinned post when we're designing it as one giant long thing is that it kind of just flows seamlessly together. But what happens is this, I'm going to make this area pink and maybe kind of fade it out so you can see this area here and this area here and this area here and here are actually going to get cut off because Instagram's display size is a little bit taller than this size here. So the size she's used here of 1350 pixels high, that actually is not the most ideal size height-wise for Instagram. It's a very standard size and it's a size you can totally design with. But when we're doing a pinned post, it's really helpful that things don't get cut off on the edges because it means that it's gonna flow seamlessly together. So what you can do instead, a very, very easy solution is just to resize your design if you've already started. This is a Canva Pro feature to resize it, is go to custom size and you can see it's brought up the current dimensions. I'm going to change the dimensions here from being 1350 to being 1440. And that's going to mean that nothing is going to get cut off in our designs. So once I've added in those dimensions, I'm going to tick that and I can either press resize this design or copy and resize. I don't want to keep any past copies. So I'm just going to press resize this design. And you can see Canva is currently now resizing this design for me. And you can see it's done that now. So some tweaks that it's made is it's added in some space at the top and the bottom. So now my box doesn't go all the way to the top. So I'm just going to click on that and drag it all the way to the top. And similarly here, Joanna is now not connected to the bottom. So I'm going to bring that down too. It's not crucial, but I feel like it just looks nice, her being connected to the bottom there. I'm going to just double click and bring that, maybe make her a little bit smaller in there now that we've made those changes. Other than that, most things are still working. I might bring her North of No East logo down. I could also move this down if I wanted to. Beautiful. Okay, so now that I'm done, so the dimensions we did here is 3240 pixels wide and 1440 pixels high, and that will get you a really great pinned post you can then separate. Or again, watch on my other tutorial where I break it up slightly differently, but same concept in terms of what's going to be on here. Okay, so I'm going to now delete these 2 lines because I don't want to save with them. And now I'm going to need to split this into 3 separate posts because I need to post this 3 separate times too. So I need to split this up. So I'm going to go to apps over here on the left-hand panel and type in here splitter. And there's an app in here that does it for me. So I'm going to press image splitter. When I open this up, I need to then export my design so it's ready to go. So now that I'm happy with this design, I'm going to press export design. You can also just do the normal share button inside Canva. It's just trying to give us one less step to do. Export design. And then I can choose, I like to keep things as PNG, leave the sizing the same. You can leave all of this the same and then just choose the page if you've got more than one page, but you might just have one page. I'm going to select current page, press done, and then export, and that's then going to export this saved image, and then it's going to help me to split it in the next step. So it's now exported that image and added it in straight away. I haven't had to do no extra steps to get this to be here, which is just really helpful. And you can see these purple lines. This is saying, hey, is this where you want to split it? I'm like, no, this is not where I want to split it. So for number of rows, I want to bring this back down to 1 because I just want 1 row, but I do want 3 columns. So it's added in 3 columns here. If you needed more, you could split it up, but that's unlikely. And so when you're happy with that, this is looking great. Press split image and it's going to have these images and split it into 3. So that's looking really lovely. So what I'm now going to do is add in a page that I can then insert these designs into so I can export them back out. So I'm going to click on this little drop down arrow next to my pages. If you don't see that, maybe you're on a different page view. So I'm going to click on my page view here so I can show you a different version. So if I go down the bottom here, I can press next to add page, there's actually a little button on the right hand side. Click on that little drop down arrow and you can select the size that you want. So I need to now decide on the size, which is going to be, if I click on more custom size, I want it to be 180 pixels wide and I want it to be 144 pixels high, right? 1080 by 1440. Press create new page and then all you need to do is press set as background and it's going to bring that picture into the background. I'm going to press plus. Do that again, set as background on the second page, plus, and set as background on the third page. And that's now just added those 3 designs into those 3 different pages. Now I'm just going to press share again, press download, and select those last 3 pages I've added those designs into. So I've just pressed select pages and I'm going to press that drop down and select pages 5, 6, and 7. Make sure all your other pages are unselected, then press done and download. I'm now going to send those images to my phone. For me, I have a Mac and an iPhone, so I'm going to airdrop those designs to myself or whatever you do. So you might email them to yourself, you might Dropbox it to yourself, you might open up Canva on your phone and save them out directly into your phone. However you get images to your phone, do that process now so that they are there that we can then add into Instagram. I'm now going to open up Instagram on my phone and upload those images. I'm going to upload each one. So I'm going to press plus, make sure that I'm selected on post down the bottom and not reel, so post. And I'm going to select the first post that I want to share. So you're going to select the one that's on the left-hand side of the page. So you can picture 1, 2, 3. I want to select the one that's appearing on the left first. Select that and press next. And then I would press next. And then I would add in the caption. And then you would do that 3 times. And then you would then go to that post. So if I go to a random post that I've got here, you can then click on that post, press the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner, and press pin to main grid. And you would do that 3 times for those 3 posts, pinning the one on the left first, the one in the middle next, and the one on the right-hand side last. And then you have your pinned banner. So I hope that's been really useful for you. Pinned posts are such a great way to capture attention and to set your authority and expertise from the get-go. And it's also a really great way to show off your brand. If you're thinking it would be so great to have a designer actually look at your designs, and it'd be so great to actually have a really great brand that you love, and it'd be so great to actually understand how design works, and these things like hierarchy and contrast and readability and all these things, I would love to have you in my course, DIY Design My Biz. This is a course that's made especially for business owners like you, business owners that have no experience, business owners that just want to use Canva, business owners that just want to save time and actually make sales from their graphics rather than taking them hours and looking like amateur messes, because it can be really great for you. And I want to make that happen just like we did for Joanna. Joanna actually wanted to share with me a testimonial because she was just loving the course so much. And I said, of course, I will read it out at the end of this video. And I also want to make sure that you get Joanna's details. If you are in the travel agency kind of business and you would love a VA, hit Joanna up. She's obviously got an incredible incredible eye for design. She's going to make all your graphics look amazing, and she's upskilled in that. Plus, she's going to help you to streamline your content, your bookings, all the different things. So hit Joanna up if you are interested. I'll put her link in the description. But Joanna, about my course, said that Jackie's DIY course is absolutely amazing. Before I found her, I was completely new to design and Canva and had designed a logo that was honestly pretty terrible. Her words, not mine. Since joining the program, I have changed my whole branding, colors, logo, elements, and now I have a logo and brand that I'm proud of. And I love working in Canva so much that I want to and feel comfortable offering that as a service to my VA clients as well. Going through Jackie's branding process was so much fun that I even created a brand and logo for my poetry writing, and I'm now eager to do more branding. Like, you don't even have to you just have to create your own brand, but the way that I teach it just makes so much sense for everyday people that you can actually take this and enjoy the process, have it make sense, and have it something that you're proud of. Anyway, she says the course has everything you need: a structured way to design your brand from scratch, Canva instructions and tips and tricks, and the design principles you need to know to create good designs. Don't hesitate, totally worth it. So I hope that inspires you, because design is so powerful and it can be an uplifting and an inspiring thing for you to do for your business. And if you would like that support, if you'd like to join us in the program, pretty much I have a do-at-your-own pace course that you can do at any time at all. You can go through it, you can learn branding, or if you've already got a brand, you can learn how to make brand elements, or you can learn how to actually design a YouTube thumbnail, or learn how to make a flyer, or learn how to make a social media post. All of those things are in there, and you can just dip in and out as you need them. Plus, it's not just a course that you just do by yourself. I have monthly calls so you can join me like Joanna did and get live feedback and edits on your design. Plus, you can post into our Facebook group and you get 3 months access to that, totally included for the price of the course, plus lifetime access to the course itself. And so it's honestly a no-brainer for almost every single business owner who is doing any of their brand graphics in Canva. So I'd love to have you if that sounds good. It is such a worthwhile investment, considering that hiring a designer like myself to actually do the branding for you will cost you absolute thousands. This way you get the autonomy to do it yourself, and it means that you can then save so much money and you can put out stuff whenever you need it. You don't have to wait for a designer to say, oh, I want to do this social media post. You can just make the post and it actually looks like a designer did it, because you've got the skills, you've got the templates, you've got the know-how to do it really well and actually enjoy the process instead of putting it off. And when you put off doing designs, it often means that you're putting off showing up and growing your business, and I don't want that for you. So head to the link in the description or hit the QR code on the screen now and you'll be able to join us inside. You can join anytime, and it means that from today you can start doing graphics and branding that you are proud of. I would love to have you in there. If you're still watching now, something in you is ticking along, and I can tell that this program is going to be great for you. If you have any questions on it, send me a message on my Instagram. My handle is white deer, GD, color white, the animal deer, and letters GD, and you can just let me know your situation and I can let you know if the course is a right fit for you at this point in time. Thanks for joining me for this video. I hope you found it so useful. Enjoy making your own pin post, enjoy making your own incredible brand graphics, and I hope to see you next week for another video.